Hi, it's Sherri from A Quilting Life, and I'm here today in the Moda Film Studio to talk about English paper piecing. I absolutely love English paper piecing, and I've got some fun tips. Let's go ahead and get started. One of my favorite things to do is just to use a mini charm pack to make my English paper piecing projects. I feel like they're already the perfect size. I love the 1-inch hexagon papers. They do come in all different sizes, so you can go smaller or bigger, but I'm going to demonstrate using the 1-inch papers. When you're using a mini charm square, you don't have to cut it into a hexagon shape before you baste it. You can actually just keep it like this, but I really like to have it into a hexagon shape. One quick and easy way to do that is to get an acrylic template to cut the shapes, and a rotating cutting mat is also super beneficial. You'll notice that the jelly roll strip is the same height as this template, so you don't have to cut two of the sizes. I usually cut this first just in the sake of saving fabric. With the rotating mat, you can quickly trim, and then you've got your shape. I like to actually do a bunch of these at the, all at one time, and I can also stack 4, 5, 6 jelly roll strips at a time to cut these. They don't have to be perfect. This is actually just giving us a shape that is about 3/8 of an inch bigger all the way around from our paper piece. Now, you can use glue, and I've seen lots of people do that, and I know lots of people love it. You can just use 1 dot of glue and put the paper down, fold it. You can put just 1 dot in the middle and then plus an extra dot in the seam. You can use regular Elmer's glue, you can use Soline glue pencils, but I'm going to show you my thread basting method. And I love it because I can take it anywhere. I've got a needle, I've got it already threaded, I've got it knotted, and what I do is I just start with the paper right on top of my fabric. I fold down one edge and just kind of finger press it, and then I fold down the second edge, and I'm going to bring the thread up from the bottom, and my knot is going to get caught right there. I'm not even going to worry about the tail. I'm going to take one more stitch. So now I have secured that. Now I'm just going to rotate around and take one little stitch. If you really want to, you can take 2. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. You really only need 1. You're going to go around. I'll just take 1 in some of these. And nothing really has to be pretty or even on the back. The back is never going to show. You just keep coming around. I love this method because I can take it anywhere. I don't have to worry about glue. I don't have to worry about whether the glue is going to wash out or not. I don't have to worry. And it's just kind of relaxing to do these stitches. I've done these on airplanes, at track meets, at games before the game was going to start, and it's just really fun. I even do it while I watch TV. Okay, when you get to the end, I will usually do a tiny little knot, and then I'll just run my needle and the thread through the fabric, and then I just cut it off. And there you go. I have one little hexagon. Now I'm going to show you how to join 2 hexagons together. Another tip I have is don't stress about the stitches. You really don't need to worry that much. I start by placing the 2 hexagons together, and I take my needle, it's already threaded and knotted, and I go right through the 2 corners. And you can feel that you're going through the fabric and not the paper. It should glide easily through, and I just use a simple whip stitch. I really don't worry about how close the stitches are together. I do them fairly close. I would say if I were measuring them, they would maybe be 1/8 of an inch apart, maybe in between 1/16 of an eighth. But I just sew them together, and I really don't worry about it. If your thread is a similar color to your fabric, it's not going to show. You can see that that's stitched together right there. And you just keep going. I can take these anywhere. I take my thread, my papers, my fabrics, and I can work on a project like this anywhere. And when you get to the end, you can either stop, or you can actually just keep going around and start to join another hexagon. Let me actually show you a little bit about that. I've got this that I already joined together with 2 together, and then the next step would be to join a third one. And like I said, you don't even have to undo this tie off the needle and the thread. You can actually just grab the next hexagon, put it in place, and continue sewing without having to change your needle. Okay, so I've got it stepped out here. I've got 3, and I just continue to add hexagons until I have them joined all the way around. This is what it looks like on the back. And now at this point, I'm going to show you the next step. We are actually going to, you just kind of bend it, and you just don't even worry about it. It's got a kind of a funny bend, but we are going to do the exact same technique. We're going to start in the corner, and we're going to and you know, don't stress about these stitches. I say that all the time because you might worry that you're going through the paper, and sometimes you might get just a corner of it, but I promise you it's going to not matter. And they don't have to be, you don't have to really look at them and make sure how close they are together. Just keep stitching until they're fairly close. I want to get to the end here because I'm going to show you how I run the thread back. Okay, so I've come to the end, so you can see that those 2 sections of my flower are joined together. What I'm going to do next is I'm just going to run the thread. I usually just run it through the fabric until I get to the next section, and then I do the same thing. I just bend them together and start sewing again. And eventually I might have to, you know, tie this off and grab a new piece of thread, but that's the way I roll with that. And you just continue going around until you've got them all joined together. One thing that I like to do is keep all of the papers intact and then take my flower unit over to the ironing board and press it completely flat. That just really helps it to be ready to put onto your fabric. Sometimes if I'm reusing my hexagon papers, which you can, I will take out the center one. As long as the piece of fabric is surrounded by hexagons that have the paper in it, you're going to be okay. One more thing, I applique these by hand to background, but you can do it by machine too. It's super, super simple. You can just pin baste or even use a couple dots of glue to keep it there, and you can just stitch away 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Remember to take the papers out before you applique, but you can do it by machine and nobody will really know. You might have noticed the Clover needle threader on the table. This is one of my favorite things. I'm just going to demonstrate it quickly. You take the needle and the eye of the needle goes into the threader, and the thread is just placed in front. There's a little indentation there. There's actually a cutter here, and when I push this button, it's going to thread my needle. I just have to kind of finish pulling that part of the thread through. Anyway, no more looking at the needle and trying to get the thread to go in. And then I do a quick knot. My aunt taught me this. You actually just place the thread over the needle and pinch it in between your pointer finger and your thumb, and you wrap the thread around 3 times, and then holding onto that needle tight and that thread, you pull it all the way down to the end and you have a knot. So, and I do like to trim the little tail off at the end. I know I told you it doesn't really matter with these because they're going to be placed on a background fabric, but I really do like to just trim my tails. Let's talk about putting it on your background fabric now, and let's show a couple projects. Okay, so this is a simple table mat, and you can see that I've just appliqued it by hand. I used 4 different low volume backgrounds. One good thing about using a patchwork background is it gives you a perfect way to line it up. So you can center those seams with the seams in your 4-patch. Another project is a pillow, and similar thing, I just used one background on this, added some details with contrast corners and little scrappy borders. Another project, and this is the free pattern that you can get on the Moda website, and it can be a table mat or a pillow. I've actually got this one finished into a pillow. And again, I used a plain background here, but you could also use a scrappy one. And we'll have the link for this free pattern in the description below. One more project I want to share quickly. This one just combines patchwork, half square triangles, and regular squares with grandmother's flower garden blocks. It makes a great project for people who might be new to this technique and want just a smaller project to work on. Thanks so much for watching this video. It's been a real treat for me to be in the Moda Film Studio today. Happy quilting!